All right, Shalom, Akim. Shalom, Shalom. All right, this is your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Coming with another lesson through the Spirit. Lord willing, this be edifying to the Lord's elect. And before I get started with this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak Kodash, double honors, and to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone for my grown in this truth under. Shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, that's laboring in the word, and that's pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's going to come. Shalom to the Akwath that's listening in, that's remaining true to the faith and remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes that scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth, to you Israelite foreigners out there who live among the heathen and who look like those heathen nations. But your lineage goes back to the progenitors of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel through the line of your fathers. Okay, I wanted to say peace and blessings to you all. Barakathum. All right. And so, as I was at the plantation today, I was listening, as usual, to current events and most recent news, right? And as I heard multiple reportings and different perspectives on the events that's unfolding in West Asia, okay, a terrible thought came to my mind. You know what I'm saying? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a number of videos, okay, to give you pretty much a sense of what I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying? All right, but first, I want to get this started in the book of Psalms. All right. Let's go to Psalms chapter 140. All right, this is Psalms chapter 140, verse 1. It reads, "Deliver me, O Lord, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man, which imagine mischiefs in their heart. Continually are they gathered together for war. They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent. Adder's poison is under their lips. Selah. Keep me, O Lord, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man, who had purposed to overthrow my goings." All right. So, like I said, I got a couple videos that I want to share with y'all. And I want to declare fair use under the Copyright Act of 1976. All right, this is for educational purposes only. All right, so bear with me. All right, so this first video comes from Dabu7. Okay, and the name of the video is "I Wouldn't Fly in the Next Few Days." Huge swath of military aircraft moved towards Iran in the last 24 hours. Okay, and this is Major General Amos Yadlin, the former head of the IDF military intelligence, insinuated in an interview with Channel 12 on Wednesday that the U.S. may strike Iran in the coming days, leading to a regional escalation. Okay, so let's listen in.
Hey guys, Dabu7. We've got a lot of moves being made around Iran, and we've got warnings now that people should think twice before flying this weekend. Now, there's a straight showdown that is going down between Iran and the United States military, a control of the Hormuz Strait, and Iran has been blasting some kind of device to where they're blinding aircraft coming in from the other way. Now, the Pentagon is gaming out a multi-week, if not months-long campaign right now. Oil surging on the reports that war is closer than anyone realizes. And then you have the comments here from the former IDF head, Amos Yatlan, saying that I would think twice about flying this weekend. Specifically because bombs are about to drop big time. The action that you see with all the flights here on the left. Let's take a look at that, because this is one of the biggest moves we've seen in current times of military aircraft, over 50 U.S. fighter jets, including F-35s, F-22s, F-16s, all sent to the Middle East in the past 24 hours. So people keep sleeping on this. You'd be a fool to think that they're not about to make a move. They're about to make a move. And let me say this. They never stopped the hypersonic missiles out of Iran. They never stopped them. They pierced through the Iron Dome and hit Israel. And I got a funny feeling they're about to sink our battleship.
All right. So as you heard Dabu say, you know what I'm saying, he's got a terrible suspicion that that they're about to knock down these battleships, man. They're about to hit them battleships, man. So I want to show you next Kim Iversen. All right, check this out. All right. So this is Kim Iversen. Again, fair use, fair use. All right. And the name of the video is Iran's Ayatollah will sink your aircraft carriers. All right.
What is exactly happening with the negotiations with Iran? I am getting mixed messages. I'm sure you are as well. On one hand, we're hearing, yeah, things are going fine. Iran has said that the United States has softened on some of the positions. Yet then we hear that the U.S. is sending fighter jets to the Middle East. In fact, we just sent yesterday, well, really in the last 24 or 48 hours, 50 fighter jets have been moved to the Middle East. Meanwhile, we also have Iran doing military drills, live fire military drills in the Strait of Hormuz. They have now completed day 2 of its smart control of the Strait Hormuz drills, and they've shut down the Strait of Hormuz in order to do this. They also did this alongside Russia and China. They all joined in on these live fire drills in the Strait of Hormuz, and they're apparently prepared to close this down. That would be their big sort of ammunition if we were to wage war with Iran, is if they just cut off the Strait of Hormuz and cut off oil supplies. We would be hurting. They know this. This is what the IRGC commander said about closing the Strait of Hormuz. We did dub this using AI.
The decision concerning the potential closure of the vital Strait of Hormuz rests entirely with our revered and wise leaders. However, I personally, as a dedicated and obedient soldier of this proud and resilient nation, we are standing here fully prepared and absolutely ready to undertake and execute this action at any given moment our esteemed leaders issue the directive.
Okay, so they're ready. I mean, they're ready to just close down that strait and to inflict economic harm on the United States if it gets to it. So here we are sending 50 fighter jets. We've got a ton of aircraft carriers in the region. Or at least a few. We've got, we're putting a lot of military assets toward the Middle East right now, getting ready for war, while we're sitting at the negotiation table. And Iran is saying, yeah, well, we've got some things that we can do as well. Ayatollah Khamenei says, he says that the U.S. he tweeted this out. I'm just going to read for you a couple of tweets that he released over the last day. And he says the U.S. president keeps saying that they have the strongest military force in the world. The strongest military force in the world may at times be struck so hard that it cannot get up again. Okay? So he's preparing for war. He also goes on to say, the Americans say, let's negotiate over your nuclear energy. And the result of the negotiation is supposed to be that you do not have this energy. Right, which that has been what the U.S. has been trying to say is, we're going to negotiate your energy. You're not allowed to have it. That's the negotiation. That's it. And the Iranians say, yeah, right. So he says, if that's the case, there's no room for negotiation. But if negotiations are truly to take place, determining the outcome of the negotiations in advance is a wrong and foolish act. He goes on to say that they will sink an American aircraft carrier. He tweeted out, "The Americans constantly say they've sent a warship toward Iran. Of course, a warship is a dangerous piece of military hardware. However, more dangerous than that warship is the weapon that can send that warship to the bottom of the sea." So, I mean, this is harsh talk. Are these negotiations going well or not?
All right. So that's a little bit of Kim Iverson's take on that, because the wording is going out, man. All right, we will sink your battleships. So you heard from Dabu, you heard from Kim Iverson. Okay, now let's go to Off-Grid Desert Farming with Paul and Adrian, and this is what really got me thinking. All right, this is what really got me thinking when I listened to him speaking. All right, bear with me. All right, so this last video comes from Off-Grid Desert Farming with Paul and Adrian. All right, and the video is called Emergency World War III Update. War with Iran now certain this weekend. Everything in place for World War III to start. And Lord willing, it takes place. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm going to let you listen in on a bit of what he's saying. I'm going to let him play for a little bit. And we're going to stop, and we're going to pretty much, analyze this a bit. All right.
Stealth planes. We have 6 E-3G Sentry command and control aircraft. 1 E-11A Bacon. 40 KC-46 or KC-135 tankers. And this is just the last batch of aircraft, folks. This is just the last batch of aircraft coming in from Europe and coming in from America. So let me keep on going. We've got a lot of news to cover today. Nonstop tankers on the move. This is absolutely nuts. We have a nonstop air tankers that have been moved to the Middle East. And folks, you do not move this amount of air refueling tankers unless you're going to have a massive air battle. You understand what is transpiring right now. I mean, just alone on here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, at least 21 tankers just in this one flight. Okay? And then we go here. All right? And then all of these tankers. 1, 2, 3. I mean, I can't even count them. There's probably 30 or 40 more. So, folks, when you amass this amount of aerial refueling tankers, which, by the way, can handle about 20 fighter jets apiece, then we can expect probably 600 to 1,000 fighter jets are going to take part in this war on Iran. Do you know that is almost as much as that we sent against Saddam Hussein during the Iraq War? Israel is going to contribute probably at least 200 to 300 of their own fighter jets. And then you have the massive firepower that the United States is now putting into the region. So, folks, this is a massive amount of air refueling tankers right now that is coming from the United States and other areas. Breaking news. The majority of U.S. air assets deployed to the Middle East are stationed at military bases in Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. This will not be a peaceful Ramadan. So, if you can see this on your screen, these are the major military bases now that all of the air assets from America have been assembled. We have Al-Assad Air Base in Iraq, Al-Taf Garrison in Syria, Ali Al-Salim Air Base in Kuwait, U.S. Navy 5th Fleet in Bahrain, Al-Udeid Air Base in Qatar, and Al-Dhafar Air Base in the UAE. So, folks, if Iran wanted to deliver a knockout punch to America, they would launch now. If Iranian generals were smart, if the Ayatollah was smart, he would launch a massive missile attack right now on all of these U.S. air bases. And that would catch the Americans off guard. Folks, listen. If you are running a war, and you know that over 1,000 fighter jets and bombers are going to obliterate your country, what are you waiting on? You know that all of these airplanes right now, they're sitting on the ground, on the runways. They're parked at these air bases. Iran now has the chance to knock out 70% of our air power in one strike if they will go ahead and launch now. Because we will bomb them into the Stone Age. We will bomb everything that can be bombed. And after, there won't be too much left in Iran. Their military will be totally decimated if they do not launch now. And I'm talking about from a military capability. So these are the major military bases now located in Iran. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 7 major military bases where over 1,000 fighter jets and aerial refueling tankers and bombers are located. And then you also have Israel, which has a large air force and a large strike capability in the country of Israel. So, folks, this is going to be, like I said, we're not going to see a war like this, or we haven't seen a war like this in a long time. Breaking news, Russian warships arrive at Bandar Abbas. Surprise exercises with Iran set to begin near the Straits of Hormuz amid U.S. warships presence.
All right. So, as you've seen from the different clips, that I shared, like I said, a terrible thought jumped into my head as I was listening to Paul, man. Okay? Looking at this from an objective point of view, right? Pay close attention to the demands that's being made from Israel. Okay? And I say Israel because let's just be honest for real. All right? America is not in charge here, and they're not in charge even in the slightest. You see what I'm saying? Nero's only doing what he's being told. All right? By his master, Netanyahu. That's all that's happening, man. Okay? Benjamin Miloszewski is instructing him to do this. Okay? So what are these demands? You got to break these things down. Number one, the demand is to discontinue all enrichment of uranium. Okay? Discontinue all enrichment of uranium, even at the civilian level. Okay, that's number one. Number two, remove all their ballistic missiles that are capable of reaching Israel. That's number two. Now, number three, end all support for proxy militias in the region. Okay, so that's number three. Again, number one, discontinue all enrichment of uranium. 2, remove all ballistic missiles that are capable of reaching Israel. 3, end all support for proxy militias in the region. You see what I'm saying? Now, pretty much after analyzing these demands, you know what I'm saying, it's clear that there's no possible way that a deal could be struck. You see what I'm saying? There's no possible way that a deal could be struck. Okay? Number one, to end their nuclear program would mean that their civilians will essentially be pushed back to the Stone Age, man. You see? So they lose either way. They lose either way, man. If I gotta end all my enriched uranium, then what's left for me? You know what I'm saying? Why? Because pretty much low enriched uranium is used for electricity generation. You know what I'm saying? If you can have electricity, you can have lights, you know what I'm saying, your street lights and yada yada yada. Okay. It's also used for medical procedures such as cancer treatments. All right. Enriched uranium is actually used for that. It's also used for scientific research and industrial usage that powers a metropolis. Okay. China uses this. The United States uses this. France, Russia, they all use this. Okay. So that's pretty much what you're losing if you end your whole nuclear program, your whole enriched uranium program, man. Number 2, removing all your ballistic missiles that can travel more than 300 miles literally means that they would cause their own country, all right, to not only be weak militarily, but pathetically so. You see what I'm saying? It would be absolutely pathetic if I can send missiles that can't go more than 300 miles. Then that's like me shooting a Nerf gun at you. You know what I'm saying? And you're like what? You're like 15 feet away. My Nerf gun can't shoot you from that far. You see what I'm saying? You're 15 feet away, man. You see? My little Nerf pistol, you know, the little pellet will fall down to the ground, you know what I'm saying, within what? Maybe 10 feet. It's not going to reach you. So that's pretty much what that means, man. Okay? And number 3, to end all alliances with neighboring militias would pretty much have them crippled strategically. You know what I'm saying? Just to give an analogy, it would be like NATO, you know, if there's a NATO country that's getting attacked, right? And none of the allied countries would respond to its defense. That's what that would be like. Okay? Because under NATO they have an Article 5. All right, that's a clause in their statutes, man. And under Article 5, it means if one NATO country is attacked, all NATO countries are attacked. So all the NATO countries will come to that one country's defense. Well, if you tell Iran, all right, to stop supporting any militia around the region, then that means you don't have any strategic allies that's coming to your aid. You see? You see how this is how this is a lose-lose situation? Okay? So it's beyond obvious that a quote-unquote peace deal can never come out of this, man. It's beyond obvious at this point. There can be no peace deal. No leader in his right mind would ever capitulate to such absurd demands. You see what I'm saying? So with all this in mind, one has to ask the question, does Israel know that this is a fruitless endeavor? They have to know this. You see? They have to know that that these talks are going to amount to nothing. All right? And what if that's the point though? You see? What if that's the point? Because we can clearly see that America is sending ships, and all types of, artillery to the region, basically to Iran's doorstep. All right, you saw it from Dabu 7. You saw it from Kim Iverson. You saw it from Paul. From Paul. You know what I'm saying? You saw all the military equipment being moved. You see? And this is all happening while they're having quote unquote peace talks, by the way. So they have at the same time, you know what I'm saying? At the same time, they have the American people pretty much distracted by these files, you know what I'm saying? They're just completely distracted by these EP files, man. Okay? And they're not sure whether or not to march on Washington or to get ready for work in the morning. So, that's that. But we do know, however, that a war with Iran is extremely unpopular with the people. Either they be on the left side or the right side. Either they be liberal or conservative, Democrat or Republican. All right? The American people, by and large, do not want another war in the Middle East. By and large, Americans do not want war with Iran. You see? So that's when it hit me. All right? That's when it hit me. What if their purpose is to send all these American soldiers to their demise? You see? It's a terrible thought, but you got to think about it that way. You got to think about this. All right? Nothing is off the table when it comes to these devils, man. Nothing is off the table. We've seen it with all these different wars that America was dragged in the past. You see? So what if the purpose is to send all these American soldiers to their doom? You have to think about that, man. Iran is backed into a corner, right? As you've seen, they're surrounded by the world's superpower, being America. Okay? And as Paul said earlier, it would be foolish to wait for the inevitable to happen, knowing that these talks aren't going anywhere. And that's the point. Like I said, they're designed to not go anywhere. They're designed to be stagnant. They're designed to stay right where you are, where you can't move anywhere. You can't go any further, nowhere. You see what I'm saying? There's no way they can budge on point number 1, point number 2, or point number 3. All these demands are completely asinine. You see? So literally, you're waiting for the inevitable to happen. War is going to happen. They brought all these ships, all these troops, all these air bombers, all these F fighters. They brought all this military equipment over to Iran. For what? Because it costs massive amounts of money to make all these movements. You see what I'm saying? They already plan on going to war. You see? And with you knowing that these talks aren't going anywhere, and that their sea vessels are vulnerable to an anti-air missile, while their jets are still grounded, by the way, then it's only logical that a preemptive strike is the way to go in this situation, man. In order to give yourself a fighting chance against this superpower. After all, the last time that Iran was struck was during peace talks. Do you remember? The last time being last year, right? Around this same time, Iran was in the middle of peace talks with America. And who struck them? Israel struck them. You see what I'm saying? So they already know that they can't trust America or Israel. Okay? And if they strike these ships and sink them, then guess what? That's thousands of soldiers that's gone within hours. Thousands of soldiers. And of course it wouldn't stop there. All right? Of course it wouldn't stop there, man. They would have to then take out the U.S. bases all around the region, right? Let's go here. Let's check this out. All right. All right, so you got to look at all these bases. You got bases in Turkey, got bases in Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Oman, Pakistan, Afghanistan. You see what I'm saying? Turkmenistan. All around the region. Okay, so it wouldn't just be we're going to strike all these ships and we're going to sink these ships. No, it has to continue on at this point. All right, we got to get there. We got to get these bases, man, because they will retaliate. You see? So we take out the U.S. bases all around the region. Well, guess what? How many soldiers are stationed at each and every one of these military installations? Think about that. Thousands of soldiers in every single one of these bases, and you hit these bases simultaneously. Think about the amount of casualties, okay, that would just start mounting and mounting and mounting within 24 hours, man. Think about it. You know what that becomes? That now becomes the new Pearl Harbor. It now becomes the new Twin Towers moment. You see what I'm saying? That the Amalekites desperately need in order to get every American on board with attacking Iran. You see? Because you have to remember, Iran struck first. We were just trying to make peace. Okay? And that's the narrative that they would come with. Iran struck first while we were trying to hold peace talks. So, that's just a thought that came to my mind, man. It's a terrible thought. You know what I'm saying? All those lives, all right, gone in an instant, man. Okay? Within one weekend. Where will America be if suddenly you wake up on a Monday morning with 20,000 U.S. soldiers gone? Just like that. You see? Let me close this out with the book of Psalms, chapter 55. Understand that there's no level that these devils won't stoop to. They won't stoop to. Don't think that they won't stoop to that level. You see what I'm saying? How do we get into Vietnam? It was due to the Gulf of Tonkin incident. How do we enter into World War II? It was the Pearl Harbor incident. You see what I'm saying? And what did America do? America had antagonized the Japanese. You see? And caused them to attack. and egged them on until finally Pearl Harbor and all those soldiers were gone. You see? How did we get into the war in Iraq and Afghanistan? It was because of what happened on September the 11th, 2001. And everyone who was old enough to remember that day, you know where you were and what you were doing when that time happened. When that went down, you know what you was doing and where you were, man. All right? It's like the world stood still. You see what I'm saying? If this happens the way that I'm thinking, this will be the new Pearl Harbor event. This will be the new 9/11 event. This will be the new Gulf of Tonkin incident. You see? And Americans will once again cry for blood. So that's just a thought, you know what I'm saying? I just want to leave you with that. This is Psalms chapter 55 and verse 20. It reads, "He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords." Kohala Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem Ruchak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, whom I've grown in this truth under. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.